Sports Cards. Get at it.
Hey, Talofa Lava. Leotawa Dr. John Peterson here with TE2 Sports Cards. Coming at you live and direct from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Thought I'd do a quick video today. This won't be too long. Called Tools of the Trade. Tools of the Trade. So over the last couple years since I've been doing sports cards as a business, I've learned a fair amount from watching YouTube videos and also through trial and error, through experience, some of the different things that you need in order to participate in the sports card game. So what I thought I would do today is show you just some of the different tools, resources, things that I use to make sure that I can get cards in the door, cards out the door, and all sorts of different things. So I'm going to go through these different tools and show you what I use, and hopefully it's helpful to you as you think about the different things that you're going to use or would like to use to submit your cards for grading, crack cards, etc., etc. So we'll start off with something pretty basic here. This is one that will be familiar to everybody. You definitely need a pen. All right, so whether you're taking notes on cards that you've ordered, whether you're talking about different things that you need, or writing down different things that you need for a PSA submission, you definitely want to have that. Another tool you need is scissors. You got to have a scissors. That's pretty straightforward. So you got to have yourself good scissors. Next thing, I like to use sometimes one of these, which is a loop. This is the loop that I've used over the years, last couple of years. Works pretty well. All right, see, you got this. I don't use it a ton, but the magnification I think is up to, let's see here, I think it's up to 10 if I'm not mistaken, so pretty solid. It runs on batteries. So I got that. Let's go with this. Phillips screwdriver. This is for getting cards out of cards that have been screw downs, cards that are in screw downs. So you got to have one of these. I like to have a Sharpie at the table. So if I need to put anything in permanent marker, I've got that. Of course, I've got my my lamp, which you can see the shadow for. I use a Farewell lamp. It's got a number of settings on it, so you can go with this, you can go with this, that one. I usually use this setting. Box cutter. Get yourself a nice box cutter. This is a Fiskars. I know people use different types of things to cut through boxes and open up wax and that's those sorts of things, but I use a Fiskars. I like Fiskars' stuff. It's got a little feature on here so that it doesn't open on its own. Flathead screwdriver for when you're cracking cards, cracking slabs and getting cards out of slabs. I use a flathead of this size. I've tried different sized flatheads, and this one seems to work the best. I've used larger flathead screwdrivers, and I find them to be a little bit more unwieldy and a little bit more susceptible to damaging cards. They just tend to slip a little bit more. So the smaller the flathead screwdriver, in my opinion, the better. I think this is called a tile cutter. So I use Fit Tool. I know I'm not getting any sort of compensation for showing these, but this works pretty good for snapping the corners of slabs. So I plan to snap this one a little bit later today. I usually use this like this, and I snap the corner like that, and then I snap this corner Sometimes I'll snap along the edges. Typically I don't though. Usually with these CGC, CSG cases, snapping on the corner here and snapping on the corner there at an angle does the trick pretty well. And then you can pop it open. So tile cutter or tile snapper, I think it's called a tile cutter actually. Essential. All right, essential for snapping, especially CSG slabs or CGC slabs. Here we've got just a box cutter, pretty basic. I use the C-Jet brand. Pretty straightforward. You gotta have one of these if you're gonna be cutting cardboard, which I do a fair amount of because I send a lot of cards out through eBay, through USPS. So you gotta have one of these. This is kind of a unique one. This is called a tin snips. I believe it's called a tin snips. I use the CRV, or was it Hurricane model of the CRV. The CRV down there, and then the Hurricane model. This works pretty straightforward. This I use for PSA slabs. So I don't use the I don't use the tile cutter on PSA slabs. So let me grab a PSA slab and show you how I do that. This one's in a case, but so what I do with the PSA slabs is I cut along the corner here and along the corner here, just like I do for the CSG slabs. But what you'll find is that they don't snap and crack as much as you just cut them off. Right, and so you make the incision, make the cut here, make the cut here, and then generally you can kind of pull it off and then get your flathead screwdriver in there and get the card out of the PSA slab. So this is called a tin snips. One thing that's unique about a tin snips is that there are 3 different kinds of tin snips. There are ones that cut to the right, there are ones that cut to the left, and there are ones that cut straight to the middle. And this one, as you can see, cuts straight to the middle. I think it's to the middle. Might look like it's bending to the right, but this one goes to the left a little bit. So it cuts pretty straight down the pipe. But this is essential for PSA slabs, in my opinion. This is an essential part. This is your cardboard. So I cut the cardboard to match exactly the size of the slab. I'd like to use Amazon cardboard in particular. It's a little thinner, lighter, which I'm not surprised Amazon has perfected. Of course, that reduces the weight of their things that they ship. So anything that comes in an Amazon box, I save that box, and that's what I use primarily for shipping cards. So you always got to have cardboard. Always cutting every week a little bit. Of course, you need to have microfiber cloth. I have a couple different kinds. I use a smaller one if it's a project or a card that just needs a little bit finer microfiber to it. This one's got a little finer touch to it. This one's a little thicker. I would probably use this one for chromium cards that have chromium, and this one would be just for kind of your average day run-of-the-mill stuff. Here's another microfiber that I use. So obviously it's a thicker one. I don't use this one so much for cleaning cards, but what I do is I cover up the slab when I crack it, right, to keep the plastic from flying all over the place. So just nice to have this one. Plus you can use it to kind of wipe up around your table. Mailer. I use this size mailer. I think it's 9 by 7 by, well, I just put 1 inch in. I don't think it really matters if you put ½ inch or 2 inch or 1 inch. It's obviously less than an inch. But length is 9, width is I think 6 or 7. So I put 9, 7, and 1 on this one. I don't use this as my standard mailer. If I'm shipping 2 cards in the same order, then I do use this one. Obviously, you can only have so much thickness in your mailer when you put it in postal. Otherwise, you have to put it in a box or something like that. So for me, I make sure that the width of whatever I'm sending is not greater than what it would be when you put it into one of the postal drop-off boxes, right? So those are open, or those have openings that are, you know, about like this. Sometimes they're a little bit smaller, but I make sure that the width of whatever's in here is not greater than that, because that's what they need to have for a width or less in order to process them. The other size mailer that I use is this size, okay? So this is for 1 card. So sometimes if it's a really valuable card, I will put in the card in here, okay? And then I prefer to use packing tape. Use 3M Scotch packing tape. So what I'll do is I'll take the card. I can give you a demonstration of how I do this. So I've got the card here. Put it in between. Get my 4 pieces of packing tape. I tape here, I tape here, I tape here, and I tape here. I used to use rubber bands, but if you tape it properly, you don't need to use rubber bands. Save those for other things. And you should be pretty good to go with that. And then I put that card, if it's a pretty, you know, average, I mean, if it's like a $50 card, $100 card, even a $200 card, I'll put it in one of these smaller mailers. And I think this is 6 by, or no, this is 6 or 7. Well, oh, sorry, I forgot a tool. I can show you this. This is essential. You gotta have a ruler. So you got to measure sometimes what size. So that I look at this and I call this 7. Because when you fold this over, it's 7. If it were like this though, like let's say it were this length, if it goes over just a little bit over 7, you got to call that 8 in my experience. So, but since when I peel the sticker off and stick it, I get 7 on this. Width-wise, we're looking at 5, because it's a little over 4.5. It's like 4 3/4. I call that 5. And of course, it's like 1 inch or 1/2 inch. So you have to have a ruler. That's essential. Sometimes what I'll do, if it's a more expensive card, though, I'll put the card in here, and then I'll put this package inside of here. So I double up on that. But you definitely have to use, in my experience, if you're sending graded cards, you have to use a bubble mailer. That's just a no-brainer for me. A couple other items. Let's see here. We've got this I bought recently. This is an LED blacklight. So I can turn this off here. You can see this has 3 different settings to it. When I am grading, or pre-grading, excuse me, cards that have a chromium finish to them, typically what I'll do is I'll turn the lights off like this, and then I'll use this to look at the surface of the card. So all the chrome cards, one of the first things that I'll do is I'll inspect it with the overhead lamp, the LED lamp, and the other light on that I've got here. And then I'll turn the lights off for the last kind of round and just take a look and see if there's any surface issues with the cards that I'm sending into PSA. I think this is an essential aspect of grading. I think PSA uses something similar to this when they look at the surface of cards, and or when they scan them with Gemamint, whatever that thing is called. So anyway, this brand is, I don't even know what brand this is. It's got a USB port, so that's how you charge it, so it doesn't run on battery, which is nice. I'm not sure. You have to look. And it's got this little handle, so if you want to use that, that's it too. Obviously, you need penny sleeves. This is how I do my penny sleeves. So I'm kind of I don't know, anal or whatever you want to call it, but I typically like to snip like that my penny sleeve so that the card can go. Sorry, knocked my stand over a little bit there. Not going to edit that out. I don't really do much editing. So you can easily get the card in the penny sleeve. All right. So if it's in a penny sleeve and it's not cut or snipped, sometimes you can catch this corner. And so for cards that I feel like are a little more expensive, I definitely will snip the penny sleeve on the left-hand corner. Clearly you need to have your I use Ultra Pro. I prefer Ultra Pro over everything else. I mean, BCW is fine. The other ones are fine, but Ultra Pro is my favorite. But this is a 1, so you need one of those. And then the last thing that I'll show you is something that I got from Flippin' Steve. This is called Magna Pros. And the way this works is it's similar to the Blacklight, but it's not exactly the same. You can see it's got these lights on it, and it's kind of nice for like an initial round of pre-grading. You can turn the light off again, and then it's got magnification on it, so you can get a pretty good sense of the surface of the card. I do use this, but I also sometimes will use this last. So this is kind of the first pass through, and this is with the lights off, the second pass through. I think that's everything that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm looking around here and not seeing anything else. So, all right, that's what I got for you. I call that Tools of the Trade. And if you can, put in a like or a subscribe and/or a subscribe. And thanks for watching. Peace out and one love.